Okay, good morning. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on how to use the organizational standard system that we'll be using this year with THO Solutions. We're joined by Connie Everson from THO Solutions, who's going to take over on providing an overview of the system. And we really appreciate their time and their willingness to conduct this webinar for us. Just a couple of announcements before we get started with that. Just wanted to remind you to keep yourself on mute unless you have a question to help cut down on the background noise. This should be actually a relatively short webinar. I'm sure that we won't take up the full hour and a half that we have scheduled, but there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions, but you can also chat them in, and I'll try to keep an eye on the chat as we go through, and then we'll also have a time at the end for you to ask questions. The organizational standards will be due January 31, and we'll have a lot of communication, I'm sure, between now and then as reminders and helping you to sort through any questions that you have. The system will be ready for you to log in starting tomorrow, so you can get logged in tomorrow and start uploading documentation. Just a reminder that this webinar will be recorded. So if you would like to review this later or share this with other staff members, we'll be recording this webinar and we'll be posting it to our grantee resources page. And also, again, this webinar will be on the how to use the THO Solutions system, not necessarily on the documentation requirements for each organizational standard or anything like that. That is in a different webinar that's posted to our grantee resources page. So if you have questions about how to access that webinar, let me know, and I can follow up with you after the call. Once you have an opportunity to get in the system, we'll try to help you, Josiah or Blake or I or Alex Diaz. We'll try to help you with some of the small things, issues that you may be having with the system. But if it's not something that we're able to resolve, we'll be referring you to Connie to get some assistance with sorting that through. So I'm glad that you all have a chance to put a face to the name. And I think with that, I believe Josiah Massingale is on the call. Josiah, is there anything else you'd like to add before we jump into the webinar?
Nothing to add, Alex, other than good morning, everyone.
Great. Well, again, we really appreciate Connie taking the time to go over the system. And again, if you have questions, I'll try to keep an eye on the chat as we go through it. And with that, I will pass it over to you, Connie.
Okay. Well, your screen that you will log in on has only changed a little bit because you're going to see one more button that is activated here. So you've got your annual report, your CARES report, your agency communications, and then organizational standards. Now I'm in a demo version of this, so I'm not sure exactly where your button is going to be, but you will see this button that just says collect organizational standards data. And if you click on that button, you're going to see it's going to open up first to category 1. We've got all of the categories up here. So you're going to see all of the necessary categories, depending on whether you're public or private, up across the top. And as you click on them, you will see each of the standards associated with the category. The status of each standard will be displayed over here on the right in red. So here we have these were all met. We go to category 2. This one has been submitted to the state. This one is unmet. So the state has returned this item. And then we have not started. As soon as you click this edit button, over on the left, the status changes to in progress. So this is what the screen looks like that is displaying that standard. You're going to see the standard 2.3. The organization communicates its activities and its results to the community in bold type at the top of the window. This is the current status, and your only other option is submitted to state. So once you have completed it, you will submit it to the state, and that makes it viewable by the state office. But before you do that, first of all, this blue line here, click on it and click to view. Click on the click to view. And that will display all of the guidance that is already included by NASCASP on what should be included for that particular standard. The state office has the ability to add additional guidance to each of the standards. So you may see other things there that have been submitted by your state office for guidance with a particular standard. But this will click to hide it, click to view it. Then we have the self-assessment, and this is for you to indicate where you are at in terms of that standard, whether you think you have met it, I suppose whether you think it is not yet met, or if you're still working on it. This is informational for the state office. It's nothing to do with the NASCASP. It has nothing to do with the official standard itself. It is just your own agency self-assessment. If you have a in-process self-assessment, you have this notes field down here where if there is additional information that you would like to be included when you submit this standard, that can be entered here. So this is your own self-assessment as to where you're at with this particular standard. Now, this is where you are attaching the documentation to the standard. First of all, you're going to browse to the document, and I'm looking for my test upload document, and click open. And now the description, document description, this allows you to explain. You may have this assigned a name that makes sense to you. Maybe or maybe not, it will make sense to the state office. So this description, you have 255 characters. This allows you to put in information about that document, including if it's a multi-page document, you may want to put in the page number and the paragraph that you want to direct the state office to regarding where they should look for the information associated with this standard. So see page 2, paragraph, I'm gonna just call it 19. Then there is one additional thing you can do here. This is a list of all of the standards. If you have a document, let's say you have your agency needs assessment or your CAP plan or something like that, you only need to upload it one time. And then you can attach that same document to multiple standards. And all you do is just click next to the standard, the select button, it turns red. Once you have selected everything that you want to attach that standard to, I guess we can click on hide organizational standards and then upload document. this document was attached to this standard and any additional standards you selected. So this document, which I named Yes, 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 which, you know, that probably is not what you want to name your documents, but that was a document that I attached to a different standard, but I included standard 2.3. So this is where you have the ability to go in there and upload a document one time and then attach it to multiple times, multiple standards. Progress notes. This is a notes field that allows you to enter notes, but there's no date time stamp on it or anything like that. It's just a freestyle note field that can be changed. I'm going to say this note field can be changed and or removed. So you want to be, you want to be careful about what you put here. Just keep in mind that this is changeable. Down here, we're going to get to a notes field that is not changeable. That's why I want to make sure you are aware that this progress notes, which would probably in most cases refer back to your agency self-assessment when applicable. So this can be changed. Action steps, same thing. This can be changed as well. But you have, this is a memo field, so you have plenty of space for entering notes. This field itself will take up to 1 billion characters. Here, these notes, this will work like the notes in the annual report. The notes that you put here are going to be date time stamped and not changeable or removable. And I've got a typo out there. And that happens when you hit Save Edits down here. Now, when you hit the Save Edits, it's also going to save your status up here. It saves everything, this Save Edits button. Standard was saved. And when the standard was saved, this was put up here, and you'll notice no more editing is possible here with the date, the time, and this is my user ID right now. I'm logged in as annual report, but this will be your name or your login. So if the state returns a standard to you, they will put their notes here. You will see their notes up here, and you can enter your response here. That is I got this saved. I'm gonna go back out here to category 2, and you'll see the status here of in process. If we come back here, you change this to submitted and hit Save Edits. And now if we come back out here to category 2, you see this has changed to submitted. If the state returns something to you, what you will see is unmet. So that means you need to come back here and take a look at this. And you will see the documents that are attached, and then you'll see your notes here, each of them with a date time stamp. So that is like the annual report. So do you have any questions? That is all there is to preparing your organizational standards. Attaching your documentation, doing your self-assessment, any notes that you may want here, but then it's just a matter of submitting it to the state.
Thank you, Connie. Just a couple things that I wanted to add. One of the things is how to mark the standards as not applicable. Some of the standards are not applicable to public entities. And so that list of standards, it can be found in the presentation that we conducted, I guess, last week. And that PowerPoint presentation has a list of those standards. So if one of the standards is not applicable to your organization, you can mark the standard as met, and in the notes field, please be sure to put a note in there that says not applicable, so that we know that there's a reason why you didn't upload documentation under that standard. And then the other thing is that for the different standards for public versus private entities, that will be set up in advance for you. So each of your organizations will be set up either as a public or a private entity, and so you'll see the standards that are appropriate for your organization. And I think that was the rest of the things that I wanted to add. Josiah, did you have anything else to add to that?
No, not yet. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, does anybody else have any questions? Then I'm going to turn it back to you, Alex.
Okay, great. Yeah, I haven't seen any questions come through the chat, so hopefully that means that everybody understands really clearly how to upload that documentation. And again, if you have additional questions that come up after this, feel free to reach out to us, or and if we're not able to help you, we'll link you up with Connie. And the question was if you can review previous submissions from CSG. Unfortunately, we weren't able to download all of that documentation from CSG. We also thought it would be helpful to do a little bit of a refresh with the documentation. If you would like to see the document types and the notes from your previous submissions, we do have that, so feel free to email me and I would be happy to send that to you. We will give another quick second for you to jump in with any questions. Again, we'll be emailing you with your login information, and the system will be open for you to start editing the standards and uploading documentation starting tomorrow. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and close out the meeting. I hope everybody has a good rest of your Monday and a good rest of the week. Thank you again for your time, and please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. And just got a comment that the questions will probably start coming through when you use the system, but looks good for now. And so, yes, of course, I think once you get in there and have some questions about it, we'll be happy to answer them. And if you have feedback for us, I think, I don't want to speak for Connie, but we would like to look at how we can make, this system work better for us and for you as we go through this year over year. So there can be some adjustments to the system that we can make probably in the coming years. So we'd be interested in your feedback in that as well. So
yes, that would be we would appreciate feedback.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a great rest of the week.